the first big ticket sports event in India during the times of COVID-19, gets underway on November 20th. And much on the lines of the IPL, the Indian Super League too has a BioBubble, strict testing rules in 3 venues. But this Indian league will be played in India despite the pandemic. It's scaling up this year with 115 matches and a new team added to the roster. The tournament's going to stretch for 4 months, and here's everything you need to know about how the organizers have planned it. Here's what you're strictly meant to follow. Due to the coronavirus protocols, every team is based in a separate hotel and the crew associated with each stadium is also in a separate hotel. All teams must provide 2 negative tests before they can enter the bubble, where they will be tested again, and irrespective of the results, self-quarantine is mandatory. Teams arriving by road and air have different rules for quarantining. Those who took a road trip have to quarantine for a week, while the others stay indoors for 14 days. During the stay in the bubble, everyone will be tested every 3 days. What happens if there is a breach? If there is a breach or a guest is brought in, then the person involved has to isolate. They would then need to repeat the whole initial process, test twice, continue to stay in isolation for 4 or 5 days, and then test again. If all 3 tests come negative, only then are they allowed back in. What happens if you test positive? The said person will have to isolate for 14 days on a separate floor and will be allowed back only after they have tested negative twice. A second test is to be conducted within 48 hours of the first negative, and only if both return negative is the person allowed back into the BioBubble. The team will also go through a series of tests to ensure there has been no second positive case. There will be no access for the media as well during this season's ISL, which also means access zones involved for everyone is limited. For starters, the team members can only move between the hotel, training ground and the stadium. For everyone involved with the ISL at these 3 venues, which are Bambolim, Fatorda and the Tilak Maidan, access has been divided into 4 categories. Tier 1, players, first team staff and their families. Tier 2, this will be made up of everyone who will come in contact and coordinate with the members of the first tier. Everyone in the top 2 tiers will be tested every 3 days. Tier 3, the staff of the clubs and everyone else who requires to access the field of play, to visit the field of play, competition area, delegate area and the media tribune. People in this tier will be tested every 5 days. And finally, the 4th tier, these are people who have no access to the field of competition and are generally going to be around only on non-match days. So what's new in this season? Mohun Bagan and ATK have merged to become ATK Mohun Bagan, and they did not have to wait too long before Mohun Bagan's arch rivals East Bengal joined in the mix too. Another thing to look out for is, unlike previous years, this year the overseas players count has also been reduced and all teams have to adhere to the 3+1 rule followed by AFC. Remember, the ISL was one of the tournaments that was affected first by the coronavirus pandemic when they had to play the final between ATK and Chennai in behind closed doors in Goa on March 14th. So to ensure full safety this time, the ISL has taken the best practices from the Premier League and IPL among other leagues, and it looks set for a bigger and more competitive season.